All right, we have finally heard from Shou Chew, the CEO of TikTok, on his feelings about the Supreme Court upholding the law that bans TikTok. I also know a lot of you are being reached out to make a comment yourself as a TikTok creator. So here's what I've been telling major news outlets. One, the narrative that the ban on TikTok had massive bipartisan support is quite simply not true. The Protecting Americans Against Foreign Adversary-Owned Applications was never even debated on the Senate floor. In fact, this bill was couched in a must-pass humanitarian aid package. That is the package that President Biden signed. That is what had bipartisan support. And within this humanitarian package was the red pill TikTok ban. Number two, there has been no proof, zero proof from any intelligence agency that TikTok did in fact interfere in elections or in propaganda or somehow cause national security issues to the American people. Only that hypothetically they kind of could. Well, so could any social media platform, and a ban on TikTok alone does not make us any safer. TikTok was never given a fair trial to present evidence that they had met Congress's concerns about national security with action. The headquarters for TikTok America has been in Santa Monica since 2017, well before the app was popular. There are thousands of American employees that deal with the content and overall management of the American version of TikTok. All American data has been housed in Texas and Virginia and is owned by American entrepreneur Larry Ellison, the head of Oracle. ByteDance itself was founded on American venture capitalist dollars. Jeffrey Yass gave a $50 million investment to ByteDance in 2012 to start the company. He then got Sequoia Capital, another American venture capital firm, to give $100 million. That is the money that built ByteDance. It's American money. So are we going to put a ban on American venture capitalists investing in Chinese entrepreneurs and innovation? Because if that innovation gets popular, the United States government could deem it to be a vague national security threat and shut it down? 4 of the 5 board members at ByteDance are Americans and have been since its inception. How much more American can you possibly get? I mean, what does Congress want? Would Shou Chew eating a mukbang apple pie and a million hot dogs prove to you that he cares about America? Because I bet he'll do it. TikTok puts $24 billion in the GDP. There are 7 million small businesses that operate on this app. There are hundreds of thousands of creators that make money on this app, money that makes them make ends meet. We're talking about folks who make $200, $500 on the app that they cannot replace the income of anywhere else. That's the difference between having safe housing. That's the difference between putting food on your table, for your kid to take that violin lesson or play a sport. The average person's quality of life has been exponentially improved, both by the community they've built on TikTok, the money they've made here, the connections that they made, the confidence that they found in themselves. And to black that out is not only un-American, but it is an egregious affront to the American experience, to the free market, and to entrepreneurship. We are facing an economic apocalypse because of the ignorance of a Congress that doesn't understand the application and a Supreme Court that doesn't care. Do we really think that it is American to provide a blackout on the most popular communication platform Americans use the day before a new president takes office, a president who has said he's going to issue 100 executive orders on day one? Yesterday, President Biden said that he would not enforce the ban for 36 hours so that he could hand the decision over to President Trump, who says he's got a plan. Now, I wish that President Biden would have invoked that one-time 90-day extension that allows TikTok to operate for 90 days. The reason he didn't is because he felt that that infringed on the transfer of power. And also, the president can only invoke that extension one time, and it can only be invoked if there is proof that the application will be sold, which right now there is not. Cybersecurity companies have published articles saying that TikTok collects less data than its counterparts at Meta or Snapchat. Citizen Lab did research in 2021 that proved that there was no overt data transmission from TikTok to the Chinese government. It had never happened. And divesting from TikTok is not something that is super easy. It would have to comply with the PRC export regulations. A Trump official said that ByteDance would be required to follow the 2017 national intelligence law that even after divestment, TikTok would have to scrub its source code, meaning everything that's happened on TikTok so far would be deleted. And TikTok has said, look, we're not necessarily opposed to doing that, but it would take us 3 years to rewrite all of that code. Now, in a second here, you're going to hear from Shou Chew, who is talking about how he is working with President Trump to ensure that TikTok continues operating in America. There's also a chance now that even with the Biden stay, TikTok could go dark on Sunday. And I've spoke to high-level TikTok employees in Washington, D.C. and California, and both of them have said that they are trying to make sure that TikTok can stay on, but they are not willing to break the law. My worry is that TikTok will go dark for a couple of days. And then in the early days of the Trump administration, TikTok will spin off a certain amount of the product that Trump and Congress can agree satisfies the congressional concerns about national security and thereby puts them square with the law. Maybe they'll spin off something like housing the American data, which has been done here since 2017. Selling the American data contract to Larry Ellison, who already owns it. Maybe they could do something like that, and that would satisfy a Republican Congress. Because if not, what you're going to see is a Republican Congress who led the petition to ban this application at odds with Donald Trump, who they treat like a god king. Who's going to come for the king this time? Tom Cotton, you feel strongly enough about the TikTok ban to come for the king? You better watch yourself. Anyway, here is Shou Chu's response to the decision in the Supreme Court this morning. I'll be on TV about 1 million times saying all the things I just said to you. I will not give up this ship. We continue to fight. But I also need you to post your grievances on other platforms. Congresspeople aren't on TikTok. We need to be posting on X and tagging our congresspeople. Post on YouTube, post on Reels, Meta, Snapchat, wherever you can. Give no quarter, no rest. Continue to call your congresspeople and senators and tell them that you know the truth. This ban never had bipartisan support. It was never even debated on standalone merits on the floor of the Senate. And you want to see them do the right thing. And you definitely don't want to see TikTok shut down. But you have to be posting on other platforms, in particular posting on X, where many of our congresspeople do the most of their social media-ing. I love you guys. I'll be back with more updates as we have them. We are not giving up.